So where are we finding clients this 2026? Let's talk about it. Because running a service-based business, if that's in person, maybe you're a photographer or hairstylist, or maybe you're an online coach or therapist, getting clients now isn't the same as 2020 to 2023. And that's a good thing, because getting clients used to be all about DM lead generation, cold DMs, sales calls out of the wazoo, these very uncomfortable bro marketing, MLM ways of trying to get clients. And now, at least in my business and my client's business, things don't have to be that way. So I'm going to share with you 6 ways where you can sign on your next 1, 5, 10, 100 clients over the next year. And why should you listen to me, you may ask? Well, I used to be an in-person personal trainer. I took that business online. I went full-time in it. I made 6 figures in it. And then I started this business coaching business. I've now been full-time for over 4 years. I don't teach sales calls. I don't teach cold DMs. I teach getting clients the non-icky sales way. Before we get started, I wanted to mention, I'm going to do some little question and answer at the end. So if you have any questions regarding business, health, anything that I talk about on my podcast, which is business, health, and hormones, put it in the comments on either Spotify or YouTube, wherever you're listening to this or watching this, and I will answer your questions in my videos. I really want to be able to help you. If you see me looking off to the side per usual, it is because I'm looking at my laptop. Also, if my hair looks good in this video, hopefully it does. My last video was a little bit of a rogue video. Of course, it's my best performing video of how I cut my hair at home. So if you're liking what you see and you want to cut your hair at home, go watch that video. Being very much like, I don't know if you can see my pants, America and 4th of July. But this week it is Easter week, one of the most important weeks of the year. So thank you, Jesus. I hope you guys have an incredible Easter. So the first way that you are going to sign on more clients this 2026 or fill up your schedule may seem obvious, but it is your content and your digital marketing. How else are people going to find you? For me and my business, content has always been a main attractor for clients. Even when I started my business back in 2021, where I was told that my content wasn't going to bring in sales, I was like, okay, I'm going to challenge that. And my content has made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. You need to know the difference between content that grows your account. So content that maybe racks up the followers, the likes, the visibility, find you leads, content that actually converts and leads to the sale. And of course, there's content that's going to do both. A lot of you, I'm sure, has content that attracts leads. This is a lot more of like the trendy content, to trending audios, where you're mouthing like the trendy songs and whatnot. This is going to be content that's more general, how to clear your acne, how to, what attachment style are you, how to lose weight, very general posts that aren't super specific. I'm not saying this content won't bring you clients, but it is less likely. And what you're probably missing is content that converts. It's going to be content that makes them, what I like to call makes them think twice. They're thinking once because you stop their scroll and they're like, ooh, I really like what this woman is saying. And then they're thinking twice of, I need to hire this woman to either do my hair, take my photos, or be my fitness coach. I actually have a free program going on right now, but you can join even if this is like months later that you're seeing this, called Make Them Think Twice, where I will teach you the kind of content that will get them to actually think, I need to hire this woman. Put that link in the description, but also longer form content, if that's head talking videos longer than a trending 15-second sound, videos where you're getting a lot more vulnerable and specific, is going to be way more converting than the short, trendy, very general posts. And of course, there's going to be content that does both, but personally in my business, my content has brought in bulk of all of my leads and clients organically. I do not run ads, not saying I won't run them in the future, but where a lot of people go wrong is they think ads will automatically fix their sales problem, where like their content's bad, their messaging's bad, an ad isn't going to fix that. They need to make sure their content is converting first before they run an ad on it. I have to keep standing up and checking to see if my video is still filming because I record on my camera and my storage is getting so full. So if we want to go deeper into content, I can make a whole other video surrounding that because I could talk for hours and hours of what actually makes content converting, but you should join Make Them Think Twice. The second place where you are going to find clients, and this is so overlooked, is word of mouth and referrals. When I went full-time in my business, it was mostly because of word of mouth. My first, I don't even know, 15, 20 clients were all people who somewhat knew me. If that was a friend of a friend, a cousin of a friend of a friend, someone who followed me on social media because they like knew someone who knew me, someone from high school, someone from college. I used my in-person network as a personal trainer. So my network of people in the fitness industry, of past clients, and word of mouth took me full time, and then social media carried that. Going off of that for number 2, referrals are so important. I would have a strong referral program for your current and past clients where they either get a percentage off back, like through Venmo or a gift card, or you get them a gift card to somewhere else, or you send them a gift. I have a referral program in both of my businesses because I extremely appreciate them. And if you're the kind of person who's afraid to share your business and talk about your business to family and friends and people you went to school with, you are missing out on helping so many people and making more sales. They're gonna find out eventually, just because people by nature are creepy and they like to see what people are up to. So you might as well be bold and confident about it. When I started my business, I would always repost like my business posts, and that's how I got so many clients in the start. Number 3 is collaborations with people who are either in your niche or a niche that supports your niche. This is the one a lot of people are hesitant to do because they think that by collaborating with someone in their niche, they're gonna give business to their competitor. But personally, my belief is there are enough clients and sales for everyone. I hate having this whole competitor mindset. I might collab with someone and one of my clients hires them. 1 or 2 of their clients hires me. That's amazing. I personally don't care. I would hate to go through life in my business with this like jealousy competitor complex mindset. I can't tell you the amount of clients who said they found me because I went live with someone else on Instagram. You can do podcast collabs, or if you're an in-person business, you can do workshops together in person. If it's both of you, you both can benefit and use each other's networks. I want to mention collab with people where it makes sense. When I first started my business, I had a business coach tell me again, collab with people online, but didn't specify maybe people in your niche or a regarding niche. So as a health coach, I reached out to this girl who had thousands of followers on Instagram who talks about finances and investing, which has absolutely nothing to do with like, maybe I had some ideal clients in her audience, but like they just were so disconnected. She said no, rightfully so, because it just didn't make sense for us to collab together. As a business coach, sure, I would collab with other business coaches, but I also would collab with like a branding expert. Even though it's not the same exact niche, it's very related. Okay guys, I can't believe I forgot this one. Originally I had it as number 2, but we're gonna put it as 3 or 4, whatever number I missed. And that is using online networking platforms, specifically Facebook and Threads, but you also could maybe bunch like Twitter or LinkedIn. I don't use Twitter or LinkedIn, so I'm not really gonna talk on those, but that could work depending what your niche is. Not using Facebook how I was taught to use Facebook. So when I started my business, I was taught join as many Facebook groups as you can and essentially just spam, DM, and message people in there, just being really invasive and weird, very much giving MLM. Now on Facebook, I am in a Facebook group, 2 Facebook groups for the city I live in. It's like a mid-sized city. And probably every day, if not every other day, there's someone in there looking for business support, health support, help clearing their skin. They're literally asking, I want to hire a fitness coach. I don't care if it's in person or online. They're asking, I just respond. I say, here's my Instagram. I help women X, Y, and Z. I have gotten so many clients through those posts. Definitely not DMing these people, being creepy or invasive, but when you're in these Facebook groups, people naturally ask for people to help them. Again, whatever your niche is, they're looking for a hairstylist. They're looking for an engagement photographer. They're looking for someone to help them lose weight with diabetes. And then you're just, you're there and you pitch your services, but they're asking for it. You're not unsolicitedly pitching your services in a post or DMing them being a weirdo. Facebook, do not overlook, join the groups again that you think people in your niche would be in. But even if you live like close to a big city, maybe you live in Wisconsin, that's where I used to live. Maybe you don't live in Milwaukee, but you live closer, kind of close to Milwaukee, and you join like a Women of Milwaukee, Girls of Milwaukee group, there are going to be a lot of people in there asking for photographers, for hairstylists. They're asking for advice to lose weight or someone to help them, and then you'll be there. Threads, I just started going on Threads. Threads is kind of scary like YouTube, because I feel like both YouTube and Threads have a lot of keyboard warriors and weird men who like to comment mean things. But a lot of people on Threads, again, are straight up asking, I'm looking for a fitness coach. I'm looking for a business coach. Every day, dozens of posts. I see that is so great for networking and starting conversations, giving people free support and free help, which could lead to them working with you because you really helped them. You gave them a win. They check out your page. So Facebook and Threads. Number 5 and 6 are less to do with how to get the lead, but more once you have leads, how to convert them over to a paying client. 5 is what I like to call a FID offer, or foot in the door offer. These are offers, either free or paid, that gets your leads foot in the door. This could even be by having a podcast or a YouTube. I know this YouTube for me is new, but I've had my podcast for years. And a lot of clients come to me when they work with me and they say, I joined because I binged your podcast first. They got to know me on a deeper level. They got to see like my personality, my coaching style. I got to get so much more into like the nitty gritty and specifics with them. Just so much more converting than even like a 2-minute long TikTok video. Also could be a free membership, a low ticket membership running, like, how I mentioned, Make Them Think Twice, which is a free week-long program, something like that. It could be a paid month-long program, a micro offer, something to get their foot in the door. Now, of course, I've had clients go straight from watching a short form TikTok to paying me thousands of dollars in my business coaching business and in my health business. There are people who definitely buy like that. I'm more of that buyer type, but there's also going to be people who maybe need to binge your podcast first, join a low ticket program, especially nowadays with just like people online who are dishonest or these schemy, crappy coaches. I understand why people have trust issues. So they may need a week of low ticket or free time with you to see that you are a trustworthy and kind person for them to work with. Number 6 is offering a new client or a new member or founding member client price. You are a hairstylist, a photographer, a waxing specialist, maybe on their first service, they get a percentage off. You see that quite often, and honestly, it's a really good way to get new people in through the door. If you're an online provider or a coach, maybe the first 10 people who join your program or your membership get a special founder's rate with a percentage off or a dollar amount off. Such a good way to get people in initially through the door so you can get them really good results, get really good testimonials, get referrals, and really start building up your programs. Okay, amazing. My phone did not run out of storage. That was my main concern. We're gonna go into the question and answer portion of this technically is a podcast episode, of our podcast episode today of It's Bailey's. So number 1, the first question was, how do I find clients when I have a full-time job? Obviously, I can't work as much as someone who doesn't have a full-time job. So very valid. Number 1, you would be getting clients in the same way as someone who doesn't work full-time. You just have less time in your day. So everything I just described, those are going to be the same ways that you're going to be getting clients. Now, the very obvious fact, you have less time in the day. So naturally, it will be harder. But this is the thing. You can either have the mindset of, this is so hard, it's not fair compared to people who get to work part-time or people who aren't working full-time. And you could be kind of more in this victim mindset of, oh, this is so hard, I'm never gonna do it. Or you could be in this mindset of, acknowledging, this is hard, but if I really buckle down and I put in the work right now, I could go full-time so fast. That was me. When I started my business, I was working full-time in a gym. As a personal trainer, I wanted this business so bad, I was gonna make it work. I set a deadline. By this date, I'm going to go full-time. I went full-time in less than 6 months. Having that timeline shoved me kind of into a corner and forced me to do the things I needed to do every day and not make excuses so that I could be full-time in my business. So although maybe it was harder up front, I just wanted it so bad and I loved my business so much that I didn't really view it. I liked working on my business. I loved getting home from work and working on my business. That was so much fun for me. So maybe that's a question you need to ask of, like, how can I make this more fun? Is my business and niche really aligned where like I want to really make this a full-time thing? setting a somewhat impossible or risky deadline to put a fire under your butt. Now, yeah, you're not maybe going to be posting multiple times a day or doing as much as someone who doesn't have a full-time job, but that doesn't mean that you still can't sign on clients, make money, and go full-time quite soon. We'll have to work harder now, but it's so that you can be your own boss in the future, and it's very much possible. And again, I think it's all in your mindset of like, am I gonna have this piss poor attitude of, both ways. You can acknowledge that it's hard, but it's either A, this is hard, oh, this sucks, oh, this isn't fair, we don't all have the same 24 hours in a day, or yeah, this is hard, yeah, I can't do as much as everyone else, but that's okay. I love my business. I love getting home and working on my business. I'm gonna set a deadline and I'm gonna freaking do this. So that's my advice for number one. And number two was just asking for advice of what kind of mindset to have when launching a new program or launching a new service or launching a new business. Number one of the most important things, it isn't like I would expect this launch isn't going to go my way. And this isn't to be a Debbie Downer or not to have big belief in yourself, because I absolutely think you should set these big, super exciting goals and have so much belief in God and yourself that you can make this happen. But over my past 4 years of my business, I don't think I've ever had a launch that went exactly my way. If that was like the exact amount of money I wanted to make, or the exact amount of clients I wanted to sign on. Or maybe I had like a projection that I'm gonna sign on 3 clients a week. Maybe I sign on like 2 clients at first, no clients for the next 3 weeks, and then the last week I signed on like 6 people. That's what my first launch was. My first launch, I don't remember exactly all the details because it was over 4 years ago, but I remember it was like no one, and then in 1 week I signed on 6 clients. So the launch isn't always going to go your way. Going off of that, I don't want the outcome and your reality to skew the energy you put in, your love for your offer, and how you show up in your business. So when you launch something, this is just not always what happens, but typically what happens. People either join right away, in the middle, not as many people, and at the end, or even after, there's surplus of people come in. So what happens in the beginning, you're super excited. You're like, yay, I'm launching this. Everyone's going to join. I'm going to make so much money. I'm going to help so many people. So excited. You put in so much energy. You're pumping out content. You're selling your offer. You just made your website. You're so excited. Your hopes are high. Maybe you get some people in, maybe you get no one in, and you're like, oh, am I actually going to fill this launch? What if there's only 2 people in? That's going to be so embarrassing. It's not. And you start to freak out. So then you stop posting less. You stop selling less. Your energy is less. People can see that when you talk about your offer, you're a lot less excited and energetic about it, and people can just tell. And then what happens is you let your external really dictate your internal and how you show up. And then, yeah, you don't sign on a ton of people because you probably stop selling it and you end up kind of giving up because you think no one wants to join. That's what you don't want. That is what you do not want to do. As hard as it can be, it's so important to keep your actions the same no matter what the outcome is. So even if people aren't signing up, showing up like this is the best thing in the world, because you really should believe, if you love the offer you're selling, if you believe in what you do and that you can get people really good results and that this business is going to be your long-term and future, like you should be showing up and posting every day, selling every day, talking about it with enthusiasm and conviction, even on the days where it maybe feels hard. Carrying that energy into the end of your launch, because like I said, at least in my business, clients' businesses, I find the end of your launch is when most people join. And even after your launch, that's something else I wanted to mention. The amount of times I launched something, maybe I didn't get in the number of people I wanted to get in. Or even when I launched the Crown Collective, my signature program in this business, it used to be called the Big Deal Energy Headquarters. For the first couple of months, I got like no one in. I actually got 2 people in and they left right away. I didn't have a time commitment and I felt super embarrassed about it. I could have gave up and stopped selling it. But then a few months later, I got in almost 10 people pretty much all of a sudden from all the hard work I put in and because I did not give up in selling it. Also have been many times where I had a pre-sale for maybe 2 weeks where no one joined. And then I thought, well, if no one joins during the pre-sale, no one's going to join when it's normal price. The price was jacked up by hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And then people joined when the pre-sale was done or the launch was done. The price was more expensive and then people came in. So I really need you to hold, if you believe in your offer, hold the faith, hold the conviction, hold the enthusiasm. I want you to continue to show up regardless of what your external circumstances look like. You need to be resilient. All right, guys, that is the podcast episode. If you liked today's episode and video, I'd love if you could give me a like Comment any questions you have. I will answer them in my next video. And if you are interested in entrepreneurship, health and hormones, give me a follow on Spotify or a subscribe on YouTube.